Friends, as we continue in our service, we're going to take some time now just to recognize this weekend. It is Memorial Day weekend, the time when we generally memorialize, remember people who have died in war. But this weekend has a very different tone to it as we recognize the number of deaths that have occurred in communities, not only across our nation, but around the world. And as we were preparing for worship this week, we thought it would be important to take time just to feel the gravity of that. I don't know if anyone else saw the New York Times front page with the names of hundreds of thousands, almost 100,000 folks who've died. But to recognize that those aren't just numbers, those are people, those are lives, those are children of God, mothers, fathers, sons, cousins. And we want to take time to mourn and to grieve. However, as we do so, we also recognize that we are a people of hope and of love, and that we take comfort in the fact that nothing in life or in death can separate us from God. So this prayer that we have is one in which we will have a chance to mourn and to grieve, but also to proclaim hope, that death is not the end of the story, but there is life and resurrection. And to lead us in this responsive prayer, I'm going to invite Grace Lee, who's one of our elders here at the church, to lead us in that. As you'll see, there'll be parts that she reads and then parts that you'll be asked to respond to with your mics off, and we will close that prayer with the Lord's Prayer. So Grace, I invite you to join us now.
Hello, everybody. A prayer in the days of coronavirus. Merciful God, hear our fervent prayer for all who suffer the effects of the coronavirus, its infections of sickness, fear, isolation, and anxiety. God, in your mercy, hear our prayer. May those who are affected receive the proper treatment and the comfort of your healing presence. God, in your mercy, hear our prayer. Protect those who are most vulnerable to its spread, the marginalized, the and underinsured, the immune compromised, the elderly. God, in your mercy, hear our prayer. May their caregivers, families, and neighbors be shielded. Give solace to those who grieve the loss of loved ones. God, in your mercy, hear our prayer. Let's take a few extra moments of silence. Guide and strengthen those who strive to develop tests, vaccines, and cures, that their work may limit and conquer the virus and restore communities to wholeness and health. God, in your mercy, hear our prayer. And for all of us who find ourselves living under the collective sadness of mourning all that's been lost, friends, futures, jobs, graduations. As we fumble through this grief, remind us to be gracious with ourselves and others. God, in your mercy, hear our prayer. Holy One, help us rise above fears and assure us of your presence when we are yet fearful. Calm anxieties with your Holy Spirit. Bring healing to all in need of it. We ask all this in the name of the wounded healer, in the name of all that is holy, just, and compassionate. And join our hearts and voices in the prayer you taught us, saying, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Amen.